Yo, what's going on, guys? Cali Cowboy here, coming at you with a video that I'm excited to do, have not done before yet, but it's here. Top five fantasy quarterbacks, and I'm doing a standard 6 point passing touchdowns, not the 4 point where you're focusing on a running quarterback or points per first down, anything else like that. Strictly the passing TD quarterbacks. So without further ado, let's get into it. Patrick Mahomes, number one, last season really surprised a lot of people. There was a few people that were on his radar that were, really hit it right, drafted him earlier than should been, but he was a rookie last year and not many people seen him doing what he did. And he finished last season with the most fantasy quarterbacks by a quarterback ever. That's pretty crazy. One of the best rookie quarterbacks in a while, number one for a reason. And one of the other points, Tyreek Hill will not serve his suspension this year, so that means most of his weapons are going to be still there. You don't have Kareem Hunt, but you still have a pretty good running back in Damian Williams. So everything's staying the same. Another year in the system, and I just think and he's going anywhere but up from last year. And no, I don't think he's going to have his 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, but he has room to regress, and he has room for error. So even if he doesn't have that historic year like he did last year, he can still do similar numbers. So definitely the number one quarterback. Second, we got Andrew Luck coming in, and Andrew Luck has been faced with some adversity in injuries and and whatnot. And last year was his best season since 2014. Completed a career high 67% of his passes in his first year under Frank Reich. Frank Reich coming from Philly, coaching up Carson Wentz and all that. Really good head coach, I think, and he has nowhere to go from his injury, from his comeback season last year. Really showed he can be consistent. And not to mention, they added a second-round rookie, Paris Campbell, and free agent Devin Funchess, and just to that already, array of weapons that he has. And they didn't really lose anybody that was that important. So really good. And they got a running game now. So I think Andrew Luck definitely can be that number two quarterback. And just a little stat, in the 5 seasons where Luck has played 15 plus games, he's finished number 8, number 6, 1, 4, and 5. So pretty consistent there, at least in the top 8 when he's playing 15 plus games. So let's hope for an injury-free season. Third, we got Jared Goff, and this might be a little bit of a surprise, but I think the Rams are going to make another step this year. I know they were in the Super Bowl already last year, but Jared Goff in particular, he has such an explosive offense, great weapons around him, and he's increased his yardage and touchdown totals in each of his first 3 seasons. So that combined with, McVay and them keeping their offensive tackles, I think that should really keep him in the running to be a top 5 quarterback. So definitely with Todd Gurley as well out of the backfield, keeping pressure off of him. I don't see anything prohibiting him from being not a top 5 quarterback. And the return of Cooper Kupp could only make him better. In 23 games with Kupp over past 2 seasons, Goff averaged 279 yards and 2 touchdowns per game, which is pretty good. So Kupp, Robert Woods, and you got Cooks. Pretty nice offense, offensive weapons. So definitely in the conversation there. Fourth, couldn't quite put him 5th. I had to get him over my next option at 5th, but Aaron Rodgers, one of the best all time. Played 16 games in 2018, posted the second highest passing yards total of his career, but he just threw 25 touchdowns. So that was just a big, one of the big things last year. Couldn't throw enough touchdowns, which means he couldn't get as high as high points as he normally does. So, and that was the lowest total for him in his career, in a 16 game season. So I'm thinking last year was kind of a anomaly, a little blip on the radar. I think he'll get back to his normal self this year, and they have a new head coach who is focused on the run a little bit more, but it's Aaron freaking Rodgers. I think he'll still, command the huddle. He'll command that offense and do what he wants to do. So that combined, he was injured most of the season. Working with one of the worst receivers in his career, and in terms of experience. So I think with another year with his young receivers, and combined with that with Devontae Adams and their revamped running game, I think it's going to be really good for Aaron Rodgers. So don't sleep on him. And lastly, Baker Mayfield. Last year, he was thrown in a tough situation as a rookie, and he set the rookie passing touchdown record with Hugh Jackson, which is, it's kind of controversial, but he's not that great of a coach. I don't think so. And most of the success came after the Browns made a switch to Freddie Kitchens, which is their head coach now, full time this year. And he threw 19 of his 27 touchdowns after the change. So you add that in with a new coach, another year in the system, and you add in Odell Beckham. That's pretty crazy. Give him a lot of room to grow. Nice weapons on the offense. Was already going to do good, and we were expecting him to take that extra step already. So I think he has the potential to make a top 5 quarterback in fantasy this year. So that's all, y'all. Thanks for watching. Just a top 5 for now. Maybe I'll get into top 10s later on when I get more experience with my fantasy. But stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to probably do running backs or wide receivers next. Don't know yet, but stay tuned for that. And like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching, y'all.